The economy. It's affecting everyone all over the country, whether we like it or not. The housing market is crashing and it's taking us, our economy, and our government down with it. Why? Because of all the debt. Not being able to afford a house, people came to mortgage companies for help. The mortgage companies gave those people a loan for their house, but because of relaxed loan regulations, buyers ended up buying more than they could afford. We have a cyclical economy. It goes up and down. And when it went down, the value of those houses went down with it, but their debt stayed the same. So, instead of paying their debt, they foreclosed on their property. They just let it go.
You ready?
Now we have to deal with gas prices, unemployment, and supply shortages at schools. And don't forget the millions of families who now have to cut back on things they enjoy, like vacations, holiday gifts and decorations, eating out, and movie tickets.
Whenever you're ready.
Today, two-income families have less discretionary income than single-income families less than a generation ago, now approaching 90%. The average American family brings home $36,000 a year. 79 million Americans plan to start their own business in the next 3 to 5 years, according to Forbes magazine. The U.S. economy is a market-oriented system, with most decisions made by private individuals and businesses and with government purchase of goods and services made predominantly in the marketplace. First paper money was issued in the colonies on February 3, 1690, when Massachusetts established a provincial bank and issued money in denominations from 2 shillings to 5-pound notes to pay the soldiers who served in the war with Quebec.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've just finished a candid and productive meeting with the CEOs of 12 of our nation's largest financial institutions. I asked them to come to Washington today at the end of this difficult year for their industry, but also for the economy, to discuss where we've been and what we expect of them going forward and how we can work together to accelerate economic recovery. Our nation's banks play, and have always played, a crucial role in our national economy, from providing loans for homes and cars and colleges to supplying the capital that allows entrepreneurs to turn ideas into products and businesses to grow, to helping people save for a rainy day and a secure retirement. So it's clear that each of us has a stake in ensuring the strength and the vitality of the financial system. And that's why 1 year ago, when many of these institutions were on the verge of collapse, a predicament largely of their own making, oftentimes because they failed to manage risk properly, we took difficult and frankly unpopular steps to pull them back from the brink. Steps that were necessary not just to save our financial system, but to save our economy as a whole. Today, due to the timely loans from the American people, our financial system has stabilized, the stock market has sprung back to life, our economy is growing, and our banks are once again recording profits. A year ago, many doubted that we would ever recover these investments, but we've managed this program well.
How do you feel about the economy in these challenging times?
It's really been noticeable in Southern Orange County here. There's been a lot of changes through education, and you can really see the home values drop. So that's what I've really noticed mostly.
More women will file bankruptcy than graduate college this year in the U.S. How do you feel about our president and what he has done so far?
I would give him like a C+, B- grade. He took over a lot of bad stuff, but I think he still needs to continue on with what he said he's going to do. The stimulus package, I'm not sure if that was the best way to go, but there's been obviously some change for the good, but there's still a long ways to go.
The #1 resolution this year is to get out of debt, overtaking weight loss for the first time in history. How is the economy affecting you?
Well, personally, I've lost quite a bit of money in property value, and as a teacher, the state of California is in really bad times, and with all the changes that are going on with the lack of money, last year there were about 100 teachers who lost their jobs here in Tustin Unified, and this year again there's a $12 million cut in our district alone, so who knows if I'll be teaching next year at this time.
Last year, there were 80 million unpaid credit cards in the U.S. alone, with an average balance of $8,000. What would you do if you were president with this crisis?
First of all, I'd trim a lot of the excess fat, eliminate jobs that are unnecessary, and pencil pushers and those type of jobs I just eliminate. And also I would really take a look into the wars and the amount of money that we spend on the wars overseas in other countries that, let's spend our money here and look into the trade and just go from there.
What do you think will result from this crisis?
Personally, I think we're going to see a big change on how people spend money and save. I think it's been a big wake-up call for a lot of people to realize that, say, just 5 years ago, people were spending money they didn't have with the crazy loans that banks were giving out. Now you're going to see a big change, and people are conserving their money, buying what they need, and just start with that. I think that's what the biggest thing we'll see out of this crisis.
How do you feel about the economy and these challenging times?
I think there's a lot that needs to be done, and I think it's a struggle for everybody at this time. However, the economies of all countries run through cycles. There are always good times and bad times. There always have been, and there always will be. So hopefully in time, the pendulum will swing the other way, and we'll start seeing some good times here soon.
What would you do if you were president with this crisis?
If I were president, I would roll back taxes on all citizens to give them more money in their pockets to spend. Because when people are spending money, it generates revenues for the government. And as I said before, I would cut taxes. I would have incentives for small businesses to grow their businesses and to hire more employees. I think where we'll come out of it, we just have to be careful that we don't put so many government programs in place that cost so much money that we pass on a huge debt to our children and grandchildren that would be almost impossible for them to pay off. And that's my biggest worry at this point.
Well, as a counselor, I've seen the economy affect a number of our families. We have more and more families this year who are struggling to make ends meet, and we have been in a unique position to help families and actually show that the arms of the school and the responsibilities of the school go beyond the classroom. I do see some signs of improvement in the economy. It seems like there's a little bit of an increase in home values, or home values are starting to stabilize a little bit, and I know that's a good sign for our families.